What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Average Bob, and the smile on my face kind of says it all as the Giants are back in the playoffs, which leads us to an interesting matchup coming up this Sunday afternoon between the Giants and the Eagles, live from Lincoln Financial Field outside Philadelphia. As the Eagles are opening up as 14-point favorites over the Giants, the Eagles have a lot to play for because they can potentially lock in that 1 seed, which would get them that bye. With a lot of guys being injured on the Eagles, especially their main quarterback, Jalen Hurts, who had an MVP caliber type season but has been out the last couple weeks, getting that bye is probably super important for them just so they can rest him up a little bit longer. I'm not sure if he's been officially ruled out at this point in time or they are going to be going with Gardner Minshew, who did have a successful week. I believe it was two games ago, and then last week kind of came back down to earth when they lost to the Saints 20-10. On the flip side of things, the Giants really don't have too much to play for at this point in time, as they did lock up a wild card berth, first time since 2016. So super proud of what this team has done so far this year, as they've really have over-accomplished so much of what they thought was originally going to happen in the preseason. And that comes down to a couple different key reasons, which we'll do a wrap-up at the end of this year, hopefully, in February after we hold another Super Bowl championship. But anyway, just kidding. Just touching on that right now. The reasons how we've gotten to this point of locking up a playoff berth is for a couple different reasons. I think primarily coaching is one of the biggest reasons that you're finding right now with Brian Daboll, really just leading this team through great coaching, but also being a great player manager, where he's getting in guys' faces when they're dropping a punt, or week 1 versus the Titans, yelling in Daniel Jones' face that he can't make that back shoulder fade that gets intercepted at the end of the game. And when you see him yell at these guys, he's doing it from such a great coaching perspective that he's not doing it to be mean and like saying you're making bad plays. He's doing it from a place like, this is what you need to do to improve, and that shit that has flown in previous regimes is not going to fly here. And he's doing it all very constructively, what a good coach does. And when he does get on these guys when they do mess up, on the flip side of things, you've seen Mic'd Up the last couple of weeks on the Giants YouTube channel, how pumped up he is when they great plays, where he'll get in Daniel Jones' face and say, "That's how you play quarterback, boy." Or you just see how pumped up he is, and you see that kind of trickle down effect happen across all the other layers of the team. Obviously, Daniel Jones is more of a quiet leader, sort of like Eli, but he does get pumped up, and when he does say stuff, people listen because it has more of an impact, because it's been his first really great year with the Giants. And then the second part of the Giants' success has obviously come down a healthy Saquon Barkley for the majority of this season. Even though he has been banged up, we really aren't where we are without him and the success that he has had, primarily in the first half of the season. So I'm hoping that, last week versus the Colts, I think he had around 58 yards or something like that, or give or take around there. So I'm hoping that we could get back and get him, just nursed up. Obviously, I don't think he should play in this game versus the Eagles. If not, maybe a series or two, and then just hand it off to Matt Breida and Gary B and see what they can do, because I think they need to be evaluated for the future moving forward. If you do find that Saquon's going to be, your bell cow running back that you want to give a big contract to, which will be interesting this offseason, we'll definitely touch on that to see how that shakes out. But you're going to have to evaluate the guys behind him in case he does go down, and you can't just throw a season away because one guy gets injured. So is Matt Breida one of those guys that will be a part of the team moving forward? Gary Brightwell, what do they have in the tank? What can they offer from playmaker opportunities? So we'll be able to hopefully see that against the Eagles on Sunday. Third reason, outside of what I said about Brian Daboll and Saquon, is obviously Daniel Jones having an amazing season so far. And Danny Dimes is playing the best he's seen him play as his entire Giants career. At this point, it was such a question mark coming into the season whether him and Saquon could get the job done, and what their futures would hold as they're getting to the end of their rookie contracts. And they didn't opt into that additional, I think, 5th year for Jones. He really stepped up and put everything on the line to make this year happen. He pretty much played in every game. I think it was maybe that Bears game that he got knocked out in, and Tyrod Taylor came in and then he got hurt. But Daniel Jones has been available. He's stepped up. He's made plays. And now you've seen in the back half of the season, his throwing ability, where he's placing the ball in the tight windows, finding guys downfield. Without those three key figures, the Giants aren't where they are this year. Obviously, the defense has played really well, so I'll add the fourth there is Dexter Lawrence. Had an incredible season, his best season as a Giant. Then you also have first team All-Pro offensive tackle Andrew Thomas, who had his best season as a Giant as well. So there are some key younger guys that are kind of hitting their stride in their Giants career. So it's going to be interesting to see what Joe Schoen has to do this offseason to kind of move some money around. Obviously, you're probably going to get Kenny Galladay's contract off. And I saw a funny meme that said, like, he needed to have, like, 75 catches this weekend for him to get his bonus. So, yeah, let's see if he goes off there. Just kidding. That'll never fucking happen. But I think regardless of what happens this weekend versus the Eagles, the Giants just really need to play basic football. Again, similar to what I said against playing the Colts, just keep it simple. Whatever happens this week, doesn't really matter. Just make sure that we're resting some of our key guys that have been a little bit more injury prone than other people. And I'm looking at you, Saquon Barkley. I already saw Azeez Ojulari and Leonard Williams are both also inactive for this game. So let them heal up. I don't know if you really play Dexter as well. And that leads to another great conversation is where's that line between where do you want your guys to play and stay in as, fit game shape as possible around a team that's probably going to be playing for a 1 seed or letting people rest. So I think if there are guys that are injured and have had injuries this entire season, that they should probably sit out this game. But if you are someone who's been a full go player and you haven't had injuries, maybe we'll give you a half. Like, I don't think Danny Dimes should play the full game because he kind of gets hit a lot. You saw it in that Colts game too. Everyone was bitching about the Kayvon Thibodeau celebration after that sack. I talked about it in my video last week and how there's no way he saw Nick Foles on the ground in excruciating pain. So the whole argument and discussion there was all frankly bullshit. But you did see a big shot by one of the Colts linebackers, just going up, headhunting on Danny Dimes. And that doesn't really get talked about as Daniel Jones does get his ass kicked pretty routinely week in and week out. I think one area that he does get his ass kicked, because he doesn't slide all too much and he's not that great at it. But when he's running out of bounds, I feel like he always just gets thrown 4, 5, 6 yards out of bounds like a cartoon character. And I'm always looking for the flag, and it never comes. But when we even breathe on someone or any other quarterback near the sideline, there's flags thrown everywhere. So, but anyway, obviously playing the Eagles, I always want to beat them because I can't stand them and their fans. Or actually, I respect the Eagles. I will backtrack there. I do respect the Eagles. I think they have a lot of great players. It's their fans that I really don't care for, and so I hope they lose and don't get the 1 seed just because they're fans pretty much. But the guys on the team probably deserve it. So in this week's game, I'm going to pick the Giants 24-23. Giants steal one on the road versus the Eagles. And the Giants beat them with their backups compared to the Eagles actually trying. So thank you guys for watching. Pretty excited. I mean, obviously, this matchup this week doesn't really mean all too much to us. But what's really going to be massive is in about 2 weeks from now when we're getting ready for our first playoff game in the first time since 2016. So having said that, let's go Giants, and thank you guys for watching.